What's up, everyone? Welcome back to C&D Sports. Today we have our NHL headlines and awards predictions. So we have our NHL season preview. So if you want power rankings and predicted standings, head on over to that video for that. Now we're diving into the key headlines that you need to know heading into the season and who we think are going to win the big awards this year. So let's get right into it with the headlines here.
Well, let's kick it off with Jack Eichel. We're hearing new things every day. There's more clarity, but with more clarity, there's still more uncertainty because he hasn't been dealt yet. I don't think any team is overly interested until that surgery situation's dealt with. And at this point, I don't know how you move him because this isn't a deadline deal. He has years left on his contract. So any team that's taking him on is committed to him for the next couple of seasons. So this is the first thing. We're just going to have to see how it plays out because there's just too much uncertainty. The next one is Tampa Bay may three-peat. Yes, they've lost a lot this offseason, but they're bringing back their core. Outside of David Savard, they didn't lose anything major outside of depth. So you still have Vasilevsky, you still have Hedman, Sergachev, McDonough on the blue line. You still have Stamkos, Point, Kucherov. You have Palat, you have Killorn. Now, Gord is another huge loss, but they seem to make it work, and they seem to have young guys and depth pieces that can come in. Corey Perry, after being beat by these guys twice, has joined them. So there are people there that definitely will want to win, and history can be made by these Tampa Bay Lightning, and it's not far-fetched.
Right.
We had a video on these guys. Arizona may be on the move, and that's going to be talked about throughout the season as, again, things are uncovered and there's more clarity as to what the next steps are. As of now, I have no idea, right? There's talks of Tempe working, but who knows? To me and to a lot of fans, it would just seem better financially for them to move on. So, again, that's another thing. We'll see how it plays out. Rounding out the major headlines, Brady Tkachuk's still unsigned, and it seems more like a William Nylander situation, which is surprising because it's rare that a top-end player on their respective team holds out like this. You would expect both sides to want to commit to each other. I think the issue is Ottawa wants to give term, and Brady wants money. So it's looking like, from what I've heard, Brady's asking for the mid-9, so like 9.5, 9.6, and Ottawa's at 8.4. It's just what I've heard. I don't know how much truth there is to that, but you can understand where Ottawa's coming from. They want this guy to be the captain, and it doesn't make sense to sign your future captain to a bridge deal.
Right.
Because whenever bridge deals are for those where there's uncertainty, and when you name a guy captain, you're at that point in it for the long haul. So that's another situation that I don't know if it's going to be resolved anytime soon. Let's get into the fun stuff, awards. And these are the way too early predictions throughout the season. We're going to be updating them.
Yeah.
So we'll kick it off with, let's just get right into it. The Stanley Cup, I think Colorado this year is the team to beat. They've been the team to beat. And they haven't done much outside of disappoint to lose that title, but the fact that they're disappointing us is a reason why on paper this team looks like they should contend, right? Because they have the talent, they have the options. They're coming off a year where they had the best defense. Really no changes there. You lose Brandon Saad, and that really is a huge loss alongside Grubauer, which is another huge loss. The only question for me is whether or not Kemper can step up.
Yeah.
If he can, I think it's smooth sailing. So we'll see how that plays out. I think they're going to beat Florida in the finals. I have a huge season, or I'm projecting a huge season from the Florida Panthers. I think they made great offseason additions. And, I mean, this team gave Tampa some trouble in the playoffs, and that was without Aaron Ekblad since they've added Sam Reinhart. So you're essentially getting Aaron Ekblad and Sam Reinhart for your playoff run. I don't know how they don't go deep this season. And Florida's another team that often disappoints, but I think this is a year where they can, and I think they will break through. And rounding out the team awards, I have the Vegas Golden Knights, as you would already know if you've seen our first video. I have them winning the President's Trophy. I think they're going to be the best team in the regular season. They're built they're built for wins. Whether or not that comes in playoffs is a different story, but they have just filthy depth on forward and defense. Laurent Brossoit may not be Marc-Andre Fleury, but he's a fantastic backup, and he should be a great tandem alongside Robin Lehner, who a couple seasons ago was a Vezina finalist.
Right.
William and Jennings, I'm never going to bet against. Lou Lamoriello, Barry Trotz, and the New York Islanders, so I think that'll go to Semyon Varlamov and Ilya Sorokin.
Yeah.
They got the best defense. They're one of the best tandems now. Light news is Semyon may not start the season, so we'll see how that plays out. I still think either way their system's strong enough. When he's back, he's going to be getting wins, and he's not going to let a lot of pucks in the net.
They're in good hands regardless.
Yep. And then for the Rocket Richard Trophy, this is a tough one. I think for the next few seasons, it's going to be a battle between David Pastrnak and Austin Matthews. But every year going into it, I'm probably going to take Austin Matthews because I think he is the best shooter in the NHL. He can create shots better than David Pastrnak can. So whether he's receiving passes, whether he's making the shots himself, he can get into areas Pastrnak can't. So Pastrnak, in my opinion, has to rely more on guys like Brad Marchand, Taylor Hall, and Bergeron, whereas Matthews can do it both ways by himself or alongside Mitch Marner, who is one of the best playmakers in the NHL.
Right.
Art Ross, again, I don't think I'm ever going to not take Connor McDavid.
You have to.
Maybe one day it's Nathan McKinnon, but McKinnon at this point is more of a two-way player anyways. So this isn't a debate on who's better, although I think it's pretty clear that Connor McDavid is either way. He's far and away the best scorer in the NHL and arguably far and away the best player in the NHL.
When he's perfectly healthy, he's going to score the most points in the NHL. There's fewer things that I would guarantee.
Yeah. And Calder, this is actually going to be an interesting race.
I'm excited for this race.
You have Cole Caulfield, who's going to come into the NHL like Hale McCarr did after having a pretty good playoff run in Montreal. And then, for the most part, you don't think there's competition. But I think Spencer Knight's good competition because he also came into the playoffs. And he was doing some damage to Tampa. If any team was going to take them out, it looked like it was either going to be the Islanders or Florida. Mm-hmm. And Spencer Knight was the goalie in that run. So I think those are the guys going back and forth. Of course, you have guys like Podkolzin, and among others, there's just a lot of good young talent. But at the 3 spot, I had to go with the talent of Trevor Zegras. I think Anaheim, although they're awful, I think they're awfully headed in the right direction.
Yeah.
And Zegras should be one of their top scorers. I think he should be better than Max Comtois, who was their top scorer last season. So there's potential there for him to be a dark horse, but for me it's between Caulfield and Spencer Knight. I have Caulfield beating him out. Vezina's another tough one. And Robin Lehner is without Marc-Andre Fleury, so with him getting more starts, because Laurent Brossoit, if I was the coach, I would probably put him in for about 30 games. That means you have Robin Lehner for 52. And I think in those 52 games, he's going to get some wins, he's going to do some damage, and he has a lot of support on defense to help amplify his numbers, and we all know that's what the voters like. Andre Vasilevsky for the rest of his career is probably going to be in the talks. I have him at 2. At number 1, I have Connor Hellebuck. He doesn't have a backup. I can see him playing 70 games. And now that Winnipeg has defense in those 70 games, I think he's going to dominate.
70 games is a tall order. But I think you're onto something. I think it's a guaranteed 60 for him.
Oh, guaranteed 60,
Guaranteed
but
60.
I wouldn't be surprised if Connor Hellebuck played 70.
It's true.
Frank J. Selke, I think, again, for the rest of their careers, it's going to be between Alex Barkov and Sean Couturier. They're probably going to go back and forth. In my opinion, Sean Couturier is the better defensive forward, but without question, Alexander Barkov's the better offensive forward. But the Selke's two-way. So when you combine the two, I think Barkov overall is the better at both areas when you can, again, combine them. Again, your dark horses are going to be Ryan O'Reilly, Anze Kopitar, and Patrice Bergeron. But I think that's more when you look at the players' names. I don't think they come close to what Couturier and Barkov do as two-way players.
Mark Stone is always going to get consideration as well because he does it on the wing. But the three guys you listed here are much better two-way players than Mark Stone.
Yep. And then Norris, this is going to be a crazy race because defensemen at young age seem to be pulling up, which we haven't seen in years past. You have guys like Adam Fox and Cale Makar emerging. You can't knock out guys like, maybe not Miro Heiskanen, he's coming to mind. I don't think he's going to be in talks, but you have young guys of that nature that can come out of nowhere like Adam Fox did. But then you still have to put the respect on vets like John Carlson and Roman Josi. So this year, I have John Carlson at 3, Victor Hedman at 2, who I think is the best defenseman in the league, but I don't think any defenseman, when healthy, can put up the numbers that Cale Makar can and likely will this season. Last season, he probably would have gotten the Norris if he was healthy, but Adam Fox was filthy. This year, I think it's Cale Makar's to lose, banking on him being healthy and being that dynamite offensive defenseman. With Colorado winning the Cup, I don't think they come close without Nathan MacKinnon, so he's easily the Conn Smythe winner. Mikko Rantanen can go on a run. Gabe Landeskog can go on a run. Of course, Cale Makar can go on a run, but that team goes as far as Nathan MacKinnon takes them. He's their Sidney Crosby, and the closest thing to prime Sidney Crosby we're ever going to see.
And don't count out Darcy Kemper there too, because if they're going to win the Cup, it's going to be because Darcy Kemper has also come through as well.
And he was in investment talks a couple seasons ago, so
yeah,
it's a high-risk, high-reward play. Having him in net, he has the talent. It's just injuries you're worried about. And just a side note, Pavel Francouz, again, it's questionable in terms of his health, but they've gone on deep playoff runs with Michael Hutchison, so I think they'll find a way to make it work. Now, the two fun ones, and they're pretty much the same. Last off, we have the Ted Lindsay and Hart Memorial. Let's kick it off with the Ted Lindsay. I think Connor McDavid and Nathan MacKinnon are the two best players in the world. So in that 3 spot, it's kind of wide open. I have Austin Matthews getting there again because I don't know if I'm setting myself up for disappointment, but how can't the Toronto Maple Leafs have another dominant regular season?
I agree.
They're just so complete, and this is another year where they made the moves they've had to. It's just a matter of whether or not it works. Either way, Austin Matthews has never been affected, and he's always put up numbers. But the Hart is a little different for me because now you're going from who the players are voting as the best players or the most dominant players in the NHL. Now you're moving on to the players that are the most valuable to their team. The only reason Nathan MacKinnon isn't on this list is because Colorado's so complete. It's not at all a testament to his play. But when it comes to players that are valuable, I have Barkov at 3 because Florida, I have having a great season and a surprise season. And when teams have that, you're going to look towards their stars. Barkov and Huberdeau are their guys, and I think this team will go as far as Barkov takes them. And now two-way players are getting more respect on their names. They're getting more attention than in years past. So because he has that two-way game, I can see him being a 3rd, banking on Florida having that season I'm expecting, which is a hot take. So this one here is definitely a hot take. Austin Matthews is the guy in Toronto, and this having him at 2 is because he's widely regarded. I think he's going to dominate scoring like we've seen Ovechkin do in his prime, but he still has that playmaking game, and he can lead a team in ways Ovechkin's never really been able to because he's always had Backstrom. But even if Matthews needs some support, he has guys like Marner, Tavares, and Nylander to back him up, but I don't think that takes away from him being important because he is the guy, and he's so dominant. But again, this is Connor McDavid's trophy to lose, and I have him getting both the Ted Lindsay and Hart Memorial here because he's the best player on the planet, and I don't question that at all.
And I think everyone sees that, and that's why he would win both.
Yep.
So with that, that'll do it for our NHL headlines and awards predictions video. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like the video, give it a like down below. Subscribe so you don't miss any of our other uploads. Comment down below who you think are going to win the awards this year, which headlines you're looking forward to this season. Again, let us know in the comments. And we'll see you in the next video. Peace.